You're right.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnah Rosh Hashanah, Parak Beis, Chapter 2, Mishnah Zion, Mishnah 7. Okay. Now, the previous Mishnah spoke about how we examine the witnesses, and if they answer all the questions properly and their testimony concurs, then that is the basis to establish the day of Rosh Chodesh, of the first day of the month. Right, and after our Mishnah says, Rosh Beis Din Omer, the head of the court, the head of the Beis Din, the court, the high court that's taking care of all this, the head of that court, Omer, says, after again they know they have the witnesses to establish the testimony to establish the new month, Mekudesh. He says the words Mekudesh, sanctified. It is sanctified. And everybody else there present responds after him, Mekudesh, Mekudesh, sanctified, sanctified. Now it's interesting that the Bartanura brings down that this whole process can be based on words in the Torah about how you have one point the head of the Beis Din declaring the month is sanctified, and everybody else responds saying the word sanctified twice. So it has scriptural sources, let's call it. Now, bein shnira bismanoi, bein shlonira bismanoi, whether the moon was seen in its time or not seen in its time. Meaning, as we said, a month is going to have at least 29 days. And day 30 can be day 1 of the next month. If the moon is sighted and you have the witnesses to be able to say that day 30th is the 30th day of the previous month is the new moon has been sighted and established. So you declare, you make that, it's the Beis Din decides that's the first day of the month. If for some reason there is no decision on the 30th day, it's only until the 31st day that a decision is made, then essentially that day, day 31, becomes day 1 of the new month, really without Beis Din really doing anything. It's automatic. It's got to be either day 30 or 31, not going to be 32 or 33. So really 31 is they don't really have to do anything then. Nonetheless, the Mishnah says, according to the first opinion, whether it's seen in its time, meaning it was seen after day 29, whether it wasn't seen in its time, that means it wasn't seen until the evening following the 30th day. We still make this declaration. We still go through this announcement. The head of the Beis Din says Mekudesh, and everybody else responds Mekudesh, Mekudesh. Reb Tzadok Omer, the sage Reb Elazar, the son of Reb Tzadok, said, if it was not seen in its proper time, we do not declare it as sanctified, because heaven has already sanctified it. Now, what Rebbe Tzadok means is like this: when you read the words, it's saying that if it's not in its time, meaning you pass day 30 without being able to declare it Rosh Chodesh, then we don't sanctify, we don't declare sanctification because Shemaim sanctified it. Meaning we're not needed here. We don't need to do anything here really. It's really going to happen automatically. Now, if day 30 becomes Rosh Chodesh, that's because we declare it, we say it. But once it's after that, it's not really us anymore. It's Kvakechu Shemayim. Heaven has already sanctified it. But actually, the way the Bartanura explains it, to me, sounds different than that. And that is that according to Reb Tzadok, the truth is that according to him, there is never an obligation to have to declare Mekudesh. Maybe according to him, those verses that we mentioned that are a source are not really real. They're not a real source according to him. There's no real obligation to have to declare Mekudesh. You know why Beis Din does it? Beis Din does it to reinforce their decision. When they make a decision, it's not an easy decision to make. But when they make that decision, to reinforce that decision, they make a loud declaration, Mekudesh. And everybody responds, Mekudesh, Mekudesh. It's about reinforcing their decision. But it's not really necessary. And therefore, according to Reb Tzadok, And it's not necessarily it's not real an obligation. So therefore, according to Elazar Reb Tzaddik, the truth is you never really have to go ahead and declare the sanctity. We do it on day 30 because when we're making a decision, we reinforce that decision, make this declaration. But once we're not involved, we're not needed, there's no reason to have to say Mekudesh. There's no reason for it. Because essentially, according to him, the whole reason is just to reinforce the decision. And on day 31, there's no decision on the part of the Beis Din. And the Bartanura says, Halacha Elazar Reb Tzaddik. The halacha follows him. That there's a difference between whether the new moon, whether Rosh Chodesh was established in what we call as proper time, day 30, or day 31. And they bring down here, the Mishnah refers to the 30th day as its time, right? We're saying day 30 is called its time. I mean, that's the proper time, that's the real time, so to speak, for establishing Rosh Chodesh. That's because the moon cycle is about 29 and a half days long, making it natural for the new month to begin on the 30th day. So therefore, that's called Bismani, and at the end of the day, the halacha, it's only if it's established on that 30th day that the Beis Din is going to declare Mekudesh. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.